As human beings, we are driven by the desires of our hearts. All of us labor under the desires of our hearts. All of us find ourselves slaves to that which we desire. And so they send forward Goliath. And Goliath stands there beating his chest and rattling his saber. And he stands there abusing the Israelites. You cowards, you wimps, you yellow-bellied, low-life lizards. Come on, send us your best. What do you got? Who have you got amongst you that could possibly stand against me? I'm going to make short work of him. I'm going to cut him to shreds. I'm going to feed him to the birds. Let's go. And the Israelites are terrified. The Israelites are terrified. 40 days. What else does that number signify? 40 days. What's happened recently that we've talked about that took 40 days? The spies. The spies went into the wilderness 40 days and they ran for fear of the giants. 40 days, Goliath, the giant, stands before the Israelites, beating his shield, rattling his saber, yelling and screaming. 40 days and they're still terrified. They've learned nothing. They're afraid of the giant. We are grasshoppers in his sight and we are terrified. But back a chapter, something stands out to me. In 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7, where it's talking about the anointing of David, it says this, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height." It's talking about David here. Do not consider about his appearance or his height. It's talking about David's brothers. For I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at things human beings look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Is it any wonder? I can't see it as a coincidence that these two things are put beside each other, just a chapter apart. The anointing of David as king. Samuel told not to take any notice of the outward appearance. 40 days, the Israelites fled in fear of the giants with the spies in the land of Canaan. Now there's another giant, and the Israelites are focused on the outward appearance and not the things of God. And they look at the giant again, and they're terrified just as they were under the spies. Terrified at the giant, the insurmountable, the seemingly insurmountable obstacle in front of them. But God does not look at size. God is not interested in the outward appearance. God is interested in what's going on in here. He's interested in the ticker, the character. God is the one who divides the thoughts and intentions of the heart. You see, everything comes back to the heart. Everything comes back to the heart. We've gone through this formula numerous times over the last 6 months or so. But we as human beings are driven by our heart. And when I say heart, I'm not talking about the beating muscle in our chest. And I'm not talking about the seat of our emotions. I'm talking about the very font from which our identity, our personhood flows. And the desires of the heart. As human beings, we are driven by the desires of our hearts. We desire things in our hearts. The will chooses what the heart desires. The intellect justifies what the will has chosen. The body puts into action what the will has chosen and the mind has justified, and then you get the emotional reward of feeling good, often followed by the emotional response of feeling guilty. The heart desires, the will chooses, the intellect justifies, the body acts, the emotions reward or condemn. God doesn't look at the outward appearance. God looks at the heart and divides the thoughts and intentions of each of our hearts. And the heart is desperately wicked. The imaginations of man's heart is wickedness from our youth. You see, the fact of the matter is that the things that we desire are disordered. We desire wrong things. And we pursue wrong things because we desire wrong things. And so we choose wrong things and we justify the wrong decisions that we make because of the things that we desire. And we experience wrong things, which damages us in the process. We get the reward of feeling the emotional response in the short term, and then that's followed hot in the heels by guilt and shame. And all of that process flows out of the fact that we desire wrong things. And other parts of our hearts, we desire right things and pursue them in wrong ways. We desire right things and pursue them in wrong ways. And we also desire wrong things and we justify them and our actions as a consequence. The gospel of Jesus Christ promises to grant us a new heart. It's not just believing something so that you have a new intellectual foundation for your life. That's not about it. It's going to impact your intellect, of course. But it's a spiritual power that transforms the heart so that we desire different things. We no longer desire wrong things. And the right things that we do desire, we pursue in right ways. God is in the business of transforming hearts and transforming lives. All of us labor under the desires of our hearts. All of us find ourselves slaves to that which we desire. We desire love, and that's a right and good desire, but we pursue it in twisted ways. And we find that we are constantly left unsatisfied by the means through which we pursue the gratification of a desire for love. You see, we desire acceptance. It's a good thing. We desire family. We desire a place, a people, a community. All of these things are good. But we pursue them in wrong ways. We set up idols in our lives because we desire things in our hearts that we think are going to make us feel better. And so we pursue those things and they become idols, and we make sacrifices to those idols of our time, energy, resources, intellect, emotional capacity. You know, over my years in ministry, I am constantly surprised that I see people caught in patterns of chaos. People that seem to live in patterns of chaos, and they just can't seem to get free of chaos. And everywhere in their lives around them, it just looks like chaos. And it's chaos, and it's drama, and it's strife, and it's just constant. And you begin to see that the people wouldn't know where they were unless it was they were surrounded by chaos. And you keep thinking, we keep providing you a way out. We keep providing you options to bring peace to your life. But you just keep choosing chaos and drama. Why do you do that? And I've seen it so many times. But the reason that people do that is they've set up an idol in their lives and they are willing to sacrifice everything to the idols that they're pursuing. And the idols that they're pursuing are producing that chaos in their lives. And to get rid of the chaos, they have to crush the idol. And that idol can be all kinds of things. It can be money, it can be fame, it can be job, it can be drugs, it can be sex, it can be alcohol, it can be any number of things. It can be being a nice person and have other people recognizing me as a nice person and finding my acceptance in that. It can be any number of things. We can set up idols out of anything in our hearts. But we set up idols and the idols produce chaos, and we sacrifice to the idols and the idols crush us. We need to crush the idol.